Hi Facebook, I'm doing a little impromptu live. I did one yesterday, as I always do on Fridays, and it erased. I did something real stupid and I think I posted it more than once by accident, so then I tried to erase it. And then, hey Juliana! And then I was trying to see it and I didn't upload it, so please forgive my stupidity on that one. And it was really a very personal live that I did yesterday, and I think it's worthwhile mentioning again. So if you're on, I want you to share me, please, and share me. Give me some love and share, please. I'm not going to start talking about anything serious until I have a few more people on, so that we can really have some kind of discussion that's worthy on a Saturday night. So a Saturday in my house is like a ghost town. Everybody's doing their own thing. I've been doing a lot of work today, work for my plantation job and work for my personal job. So it's been a good day overall. Pretty quiet. Weather is good over here. Can't complain. Yeah, so that's about it. So I want to ask the question, what do you fear? And what is your biggest fear? This is what we're going to be focusing on today. But before I get into that topic, there's one thing I will share with you. So I was asked a question by someone the other day. They were questioning, the way that I operate and why I work so many hours or not enough hours. And my answer is that I have a plantation job. I have a special needs son. And the funny thing is, that has always stuck in my mind for a long, long time, that I have a special needs son. The reason I say this is because boys growing up in today's climate, especially black young men, you have to really, really stay very, very close to them, because there's so many forces out there that are against them that we have to do all that we can to protect our sons. So a long time ago, I had told my husband that if there's one thing that I'm going to do, is that as my son starts approaching teenage years, I want to start pulling back, or I need to be positioning myself in a way that I can be more present. And in order to be more present, I can't be giving so much time to any job. So for the last 6 years of my life, I've worked in jobs where I can work only 4 days a week. And I try to be very, very stingy with my time, meaning that when my day is over, I don't want people calling me after. I don't want to be doing things, because I want to be like completely invested in what's going on with my kids, or just doing what I want to do. It's like, if I want to just lay down and scratch my what all day long, that should be my prerogative. I don't want anybody to bother me when it's my time. Because if you don't, these jobs will just eat away at all of your time. You'll work 40 hours, 40 will turn to 60, 60 will turn to 80, and the demands keep on coming and coming and coming and coming and coming. So you have to be the one to kind of say, you know what, I'm protecting my time. So for the last, I would say 6 years, I've only worked 4-day weeks, and somebody recently came along and wanted to change that. And my challenge to that is that my son is a special needs child. And he is not special needs in the sense that he has any kind of dysfunction or delay, but he's special needs to me because he needs his mother. I don't want my son walking on the street. I live in New York City. I know what it's like. I've seen young boys going to school or just going about their daily business, and cars just riding up on them, jumping out, cops jumping out. Where's your ID? What you doing? And all this kind of stuff. I don't like that. That's one of my biggest fears. And I don't really want my son to feel that he has to fear the police, but we live in a climate where we know they're not on our side. We have to protect our sons. So my son is not walking on the street. It's either myself or my husband have to find some kind of way. Hey everybody, Selena, Juliana. We have to find some kind of way to make it work, because there's too many forces out there that's willing to take them down. They live in a city where people fear them. The color of your skin is a problem in certain places. And you know, New York is rather liberal in the way that we think about things. And, you know, they're a little bit more laid back and so forth. Hey, Selena, what's up? They're a little bit more laid back and a little bit more, inclusive of everybody. But in the climate that we're living in right now, where Trump is a political person who's in power, and all the people who never really thought that they had a voice, they have a voice now. People are being a lot more overt about their racism and so forth. And I just don't want my son to be caught up in nothing like that. I want him to feel like he can do the things that he wants to do and do them without having to be harassed anywhere. So my son is my special needs son. I have to protect him. I have to do the things. I have to try and alter my lifestyle so that I can make sure that he has the things that he needs to be able to do the best that he can, and hopefully try my best to protect him from all the things that are out there. Because you have bad influences from friends. You also have, like I said, you're living in a city where you're targeted just because of the color of your skin. And it's very disheartening when I watch the news and I see what is happening and I see what's happened to other people. And it doesn't matter how much cameras we have. It doesn't matter how much evidence you have. All of these things don't really make a difference. So all that you could do is try your best to protect them. You got to talk to your kids. A lot of people figure that the older that they get, they don't need you as much. That's when they need you more. They need you more. Okay, because now they have a lot of things that are coming in their head. They're always on social media of some sort, YouTube, whatever. The internet is full of crap. As well as it's good, there's a lot of good information. There's a lot of bad information too. And unfortunately, we really can't control that unless we say nobody should have social media in their house, and that's not going to happen. Everybody is exposed to everything, and as they go through their teenage years, you need to talk to them. You need to kind of have a foot up their ass halfway. You know, they're halfway out the door, but you're minding their business at the same time. You gotta have that strong connection, especially as they go from 13 to 18. That's when all the other stuff start coming up. You really gotta be in there. Your children need to have to feel free to come to you about anything. That's right, Selena. Absolutely, they need to be able to feel like they're not going to be judged or pulled down. And I know from growing up a West Indian background, the kids are usually, what can I say? The men are very, what's that word? They kind of, it's more like a military style, like you don't speak unless you're spoken to and you cast your eyes down and stuff like that. That's not how it goes in my house. Everything is a democracy. Maybe it gets to a point sometimes it's a bit annoying, but I prefer there to be some kind of understanding and mutual respect, and all of these things need to be happening in order for your children to feel that they can actually trust you, and whether it's something good or bad, they can tell you. And this is something that I hold on to very dear. I tell my daughter as well as my son that I'd rather them tell me the truth than tell me a lie. Even if I'm mad at you for a minute, I'm going to respect you for being honest about whatever it was that you're going on with. This hairdo is a little bit weird today, but oh well. Yeah, it's just how it is. We have to look at our sons as our special needs children. Not to say that we're not going to look out for our daughters anyway in the same manner, but it's just different. It's a different kind of protection that we have to put there, because we know that society is really set up in a way that they want them to fail, because there's a whole system of, you know, once you fail and you get in trouble and you go into jail and then you have you know, you have a scarlet letter on your name. You try to get a job, but you can't get a good job. Then you go back to the streets and you do bad things. And it's just a bad cycle that keeps you in jail, or either when you feel like you can't get a decent job, right? So then you might go back to doing bad things. It's just a really bad cycle that the more that you can do ahead of time or preventive will save you a lot down the road. So that's all I have to say about that. My son is my special needs son, and I'm not working for nobody for 5 days. Period. Period. Point blank. I definitely don't even want to work 4 days. My ideal is not to work any days other than when I want to work. And hopefully I can get things in a pattern where I can make this happen for me. So back to what I was talking about yesterday. So yesterday I was basically talking about fear, and I was talking about what do you fear? Because I erased the entire video, so silly. So I talked about fear, how to overcome fear, and what happens and what do you do when what do you do when you're faced with your biggest fear. So as I was saying, I shared a story about a personal situation that happened to me. And for those of you who don't know, my mom was pretty much diagnosed with dementia. I think she got it because she's diabetic, and she went on a vacation. And I think after that vacation, she came back and she was never the same. Something changed during that trip. Anyways, when my mom was, when we basically really started to see that she was going through something that was real. You know, my dad kept on saying, you know, something is wrong with your mother. She's making a lot of mistakes. She's forgetting things all the time. Something's not right with her. It was hard to believe it was true because she was very good at trying to cover things up. But then it came to a point where it was very apparent to everybody who was close around her that she was going through a big change in her life. And when it came to me that this is where she was really going to be, it was one of those things where you kind of sit down and it's like, wow, like this is it. This is it now. This is the big thing. And being that I'm in healthcare and I've worked with people who have traumatic brain injury, as well as people who have dementia, because I work with elderly people, I already know what the course of the disease is. And when it happens to yourself, it's like you're kind of like in a denial that, oh my gosh, this is really happening to me. And then the sadness of saying, well, this is real, that's where the fear set in. So my biggest fear for many years was the fact that I was going to pick up the phone and call home one day and my mom is not going to know who I was. And I thought about that many times. I think about it on the train. I think about it when I'm alone in my bedroom. I would be putting on my makeup and it was like, oh my gosh, what is it going to feel like when she no longer knows me? And then on top of that, I had the guilt of feeling like I'm so disconnected because I don't live just down the road, or I don't live 5 or 10 minutes away. I have to take a plane to get there to see what's happening. So I'm more far removed. As much as I can have a conversation, I'm not there to be hands-on, and I miss that. And I felt like I really wanted to try and do my part because my sisters were there, but I can't be there like how they are there, you know, in the everyday, like helping her or helping out my dad, because this whole thing affected our entire family. And I think to this day, my dad sometimes is still a little bit in denial, but he's accepted a lot of the changes that she's gone through. And because of what she's going through, my dad has had to take on a big role as a primary caregiver for my mom. And it's been a very big transition, and I'm very proud of what he's done. I'm very proud. He's still learning, but he's done good. So anyways, as I said, my biggest fear was knowing that one day my mom is not going to know my name. So in being far removed from the situation, the only thing I could do is try to learn more about this disease. I read more. I took classes. I became a certified instructor in dementia and Alzheimer's care. And I really made this something important to me. This became one of my biggest focuses right now, and it's something that I have a huge passion for, that I plan to really take as far as I can go, because I think that this is my life's purpose at this time. So with that being said, a few years ago, I think it was not even a few years ago, I think it was, yeah, 2 Christmases ago, we were having a Christmas dinner. And actually it was Christmas Eve, and we were all wrapping gifts and preparing for the holidays and hanging out in my sister's room, and in my old bedroom rather. And one of my sisters was not there. My sister Julie, she wasn't there, but all the rest were around, and my daughter was there, and my niece, and a bunch of us were wrapping gifts, and my mom was there. And my sister said to my mom, "Look, that's your daughter over there." I don't know how the conversation came up, but all I know is that she told her, "That's your daughter over there." And she said, "No, it's not." She said, "No, that's not my daughter. Look at me right in the face. That's not my daughter." She told me, "I have Julie, I have Debbie, I have Sharon." And she said, "That's it. I don't have another daughter." And that's when I had to face my biggest fear, because she really didn't know who I was. And all I did was smile, and I said, "That's okay, Mommy. I'll be whatever girl you want me to be. I can be your best friend for right now if that's what you want." So the thing that I feared the most, which was facing that day when she's not going to know who I was, it came. But what made me stronger and more able to handle this was the fact that I decided that I wanted to understand. So when she looks at me and she has no clue who I am, I know what's happening in her brain. I understand where the disease is coming from, and it makes it easier for me to deal with it. You know, I'm the one that she sees the least. Yes, that's very true. She sees me the least, and I guess that I'm the furthest from her mind, which is also kind of upsetting to me too, because this is circumstances I'm not living close by. But it is what it is. So now I know, like, she doesn't know who I am, and it doesn't bother me that much. I can deal with that. She might call me that girl over there, or, you know, she'll speak to me, but she'll speak to me in very general terms because she's not sure of who I am. But there are days when she has moments of clarity, when she can have a conversation with me and she's right on point. She's asking me about my kids, and she's asking me what's going on with, you know, this one and that one, and how's my husband, and what is he up to, and where is he, and all this kind of stuff. There's times when she's on point, and when we have those conversations, I feel like $1,000,000, because she is in tune with who I am at that moment. So I take them for what they are. You know, not every day is going to be a good conversation, and when I notice that she's cluing out, or she's not really there, or she doesn't know who I am, I just go with the flow, and I'll ask her questions, and I'll speak to her in a way that she can have meaningful answers. And what we have to do when we're working with people who have dementia, we have to find ways to remind them of who they were. So I focus on the things that I know that she liked. She used to like to make dresses, and she used to like to sew, and she worked at the hospital. So if you talk about things that are close to her, especially if you talk about her husband, which is my father, oh, she can go on for hours and hours and hours, because he's deep. This man is so deep in her heart that she can speak about him for hours, and that's a good conversation. So that's all I do. I keep reminding her of who she is. I remind her of, I try to look through photos and stuff like that, and let her see if she can remember people. You're not supposed to challenge them to say, "Do you know who this is?" Let them look at the picture and say, "What do you think is going on?" Or is anyone here familiar to you? You do it that way because you don't want to make them feel like you're putting them on the spot because they can't remember, you know? So that was facing my biggest fear. I faced it. I'm good with it now. I know how to deal with my mother's distance, and we just go with the flow, one day at a time. I'm just happy that she's here, and I appreciate everything that she's done for me, and I remember who she was, and I know who she is right now, and she's still funny, and she's still beautiful, and she still likes to get her hair done and put on lipstick and stuff like that. And this is the stuff that we need to do as her daughters and as her family members to keep her as she was, right? So I just want to say to anybody who knows someone who has dementia, don't be afraid of them. Reach out to them, laugh with them, speak with them. It's not the end of the world. There's people who live with this disease for up to 20 years sometimes, so they're not going anywhere right away. And in the times that you can catch them and tap in on those memories and tap into who they once were, that is what's going to make them really, really come alive. So when you see that they're looking off in the distance and they're outside of a conversation, thanks for the love. When they're outside of a conversation, you need to pull them into the conversation. Find something that inspires them. Find something that's important to them to talk about. My mom likes to mail bash. So if I tell her about my husband and he's getting on my nerves, or he's here or there and she loves that kind of conversation because she can relate, because she's got a husband too. So this is really fun for me. It is what it is. There's no cure. There's no magic pill. There's things that you can do to slow it down, but there's no guarantee. All you got to do is just love them. Love them until you can't love them no more, and just keep it coming. Surround them, bind them in love, pray for them, and that's all we can do. So I came up with a list of what we can do when fear is knocking at the door. The first thing you need to do, number one, think about this. You need to decide how you're going to play this. Are you going to fear everything and run? Are you going to hide under your bed? Are you going to refuse to ever travel anywhere because you feel like, that you can't be in confined spaces? What are you going to do? Or are you going to face everything and rise? I would say that the latter term is a way to go, because this is a way that you're able to grow as a person. You got to face situations and get through them, and then you'll look back and you'll say how much you'll think of yourself as so much stronger, right? So if possible, find a way to overcome your fear. And like for me, educating myself and understanding what was happening was a way for me to overcome this big fear, and that's why I was able to just face everything. Pray for guidance and strength. You got to pray. Praying works. Speaking out loud to yourself and asking for guidance and for the angels to lift you up so that you can face these days is what you have to do. And you need to stop internal negative talk. We always tell ourselves, or we have a way of putting ourselves down inside, that I can't do this, or maybe I'm not smart enough, or, it doesn't make no sense. Why should I bother? We need to just stop with that negative self-talk. You need to start writing down how you feel about things. Write positive things. Say positive things. And surround yourself with people who are not Debbie Downers. You need to have friends who inspire you to be better, and who can really, make you feel good about who you are. There's so much negativity out there, and sometimes, when you have people who just look to bring you down, or just everything about them, every time they open their mouth is something negative they have to say. Sometimes you might have to just say, you know what, let me give you a little bit of space for right now, because you need, if you're trying to work on yourself, listening to everybody's sob stories or getting pulled into messy situations, it just sets you back. So that's all I have to say for today. It's a repeat. Until next Friday, I'm going to get going. Please share me. My 15-minute soapbox. This is it. All right. Take care, and thanks for listening. See you next Friday at 7:30. Bye for now.